Hey, what's up, guys? John here. So, the Great Reset is on the cover of Time magazine. At one time, not so long ago, this was just a theory. And, people with tinfoil hats would be talking about this and everyone would kind of laugh. But the fact that it's on the cover of Time magazine says something. It says something about the direction that we're going and really the bold step to put it out there like that for everyone to digest it and get ready for what's coming. Because what's coming is going to be very surprising, and I think a lot of people are going to be blown away as this begins to roll out, which is going to roll out very, very, very soon. In this video, I'm going to teach you what it is, how it's going to impact your life, as well as your current and future investments, so that way you can prepare yourself and brace yourself and make smart investments so that you can ultimately have a better future and a better life in this new normal, this fourth industrial revolution. The third industrial revolution started 70 years ago. And I'm going to talk about that as well in this video. So that being said, please hit that like button, drop your comments below, and I'm going strictly off of the pure facts here, not opinion. I'm going to recite everything strictly from the World Economic Forum as well as other very trusted sources here. So it's not going to be anything that could really be disputed. So that being said, any questions, drop it below. Let's begin. So I absolutely hate this idea. I'm just going to put that out there first and foremost. I don't like it for a variety of reasons, and you're going to understand why. The first is a digital economy and new value creation. So for me, a digital economy, what that means is what they're trying to convey to us is basically we're going to be able to track and trace every single dollar that you spend, and we're going to have unrelenting control over your spending. We'll understand who you are, and we can then use that information to build out more of like a digital version of who you are, and then we're going to use that for or against you. With paper currency, with fiat currency dollars, what you can do with that is you can make anonymous transactions and you have more control. But with a digital economy, the control then leaves our hands. In addition to that, we saw, and we're seeing right now, how the government handled the last 8 months. What ultimately happened is they turned on the printing machines and they're devaluing the currency every single day with trillions upon trillions of new stimulus packages. And ultimately, what it looks like is that they're going to devalue our dollar to a point to where it can't come back. And they're going to then bring out some type of new digital dollar. Talking to my friend about this the other day, who's worth a couple $100 million, and he was telling me that his biggest concern is the digital dollar and how consumers are going to react to it, as well as all of the implications that are going to come through it. So that's first and foremost. The second is artificial intelligence and robotics. Again, this is something I also don't like. Artificial intelligence, if you listen to Elon Musk, he said, you talking to artificial intelligence is like you talking to a tree. So artificial intelligence is just so much, smarter and more efficient and better for companies. But for the working middle class, it's a real big problem. Robotics, they literally can work 24/7. They'll never sue you, and they'll work for nothing. So you can't compete with AI. You can't compete with robotics. This is going to be something that's going to greatly change the way that we see working, and we see our value contributions as humans on this planet for most of us. Again, I think this is going to probably roll out some type of universal basic income, some type of subsidy or stimulus to keep people afloat. We'll see how this will all work out, but this is not a theory. This is what's happening. It's right on the World Economic Forum's website. You could just watch their videos really to understand what the plan is and what's happening right now. This is, they say, to help with climate change and to fight the 19, you know what I'm talking about. And this looks very well thought out. It looks like they've spent decades working on this and kind of perfecting it. So in addition to that, blockchain, drones. The drones, blockchain ultimately is going to change the way that we do business ultimately, but drones, they can use that for a variety of things. One, they can use it for surveillance. So the defunding of the police could also make more sense if they're going to use drones to watch over us. Interestingly enough, I was out front with my friend this is like 2, 3 days ago, and 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe even 3:30 in the morning, I saw a drone fly over the property with the same lights as a helicopter, the LAPD lights. And 3:30 in the morning, it just flew right over. And we were like, what the? I mean, crazy. And if they had enough of those drones, they would save a ton of money with police salaries, 401ks, the benefits, and cops can only work 9, 10 hours a day, and drones can work 24/7. So, or almost that. So that could be a very, very big privacy concern as well. And I think this is kind of inevitable, I believe. Digital identity, that again goes back to the privacy, and I think that further cements the fact that the digital identity will take away any type of privacy that we have. And I think that's going to be something we should all look into. The 5G, 5G, some people have like theories about what 5G is. I think you just do your own research and do a lot of homework about it. But ultimately, 5G is there to help AI, and it can also pinpoint your location at a much greater scale. I think it's like within 6 feet of wherever you are. 5G can kind of tell where that is. So that'll be very, very interesting. Internet government, the ocean. Not really sure what the ocean is. I have to kind of look into that. I guess it's harnessing the fourth industrial revolution. It doesn't really say. The development of finance, banking and capital markets, sustainable development, aviation and travel and tourism. So I guess that's a guess. I'm not even going to guess, but to me that would mean that we're likely going to have because 5 or 6 numbers below that is the reason of the shutdown allegedly, and I think that travel and aviation and tourism likely will couple with that, as well as the digital identity to allow us and enable us to travel. We will see if that does work out, and we'll see. Global governance. So one global governance apparently that will definitely change the way that we do business. That will, for a variety of reasons, there will be less regulation. There will be more freedoms for big companies to be able to operate without tariffs and all these things. And ultimately, that's going to even create more problems for small mom and pop business. So that are just competing in their markets, if they can move products and services around the world and do so at a more efficient level. Biodiversity, financial and monetary systems. Let's see here. Cities and urbanization. I believe they're going to start pushing everybody into the cities for a variety of reasons. One, they're easier to track, easier to trace. They're going to keep food, and they're going to just keep everyone there, and it'll just be, I think, more efficient for people to survive being all in close proximity with one another. Climate change, leadership in the fourth industrial revolution, geopolitics, future economics, global health. So global health, to me, that means that ultimately we're not going to have individual health. We're going to have global health, which we'll see what that means. I would imagine that it's going to be something like we've never experienced before. But I don't know what that is specifically, so I'm not going to comment on it. Workforce and employment, international security, allegiance, governance, geopolitics, global risk, future of food, which is a big concern. The future of food, I like the current source of food. I don't want to have a future food that is indoctrinated with any type of additives or anything that they're preparing for us. I want to be able to grow something and eat it, and eat fresh and healthy food. I'm not sure about all of you guys, but I'm sure you're probably on the same page as me. Advanced manufacturing and production, air pollution, environmental and natural resource scarcity, 3D printing, plastics and environment, batteries, corporate governance, circular economy, forest, future mobility, justice and law, human rights. So whenever I hear the word human rights, I think of lack of human rights, because when they say human rights, that ultimately means what? They want to put everyone on the same type of playing field to where no one feels oppressed, right? And the only way that they can do that is we're going to trust the elites to level out the playing field. It sounds like a pretty bad idea to me because that is essentially a great power grab opportunity for them. I'd be surprised if they don't take advantage of that. Civic participation, gender parity, LGBTI, taxation. Okay, I'm wondering. I guess they're just going to tax the really wealthy companies that are still in existence, because I do believe that this is going to eliminate a lot of jobs. When you have AI, when you have robotics, you would wipe out 5 million jobs in America just with driverless vehicles, with Uber, Lyft, and then you have truckers. That's 5 million. That's 5 million jobs right there. And then you have AI. We already seen AI where they flip burgers. Postmates has AI that literally delivers food to you. You start running all this stuff out, and they'll wipe out 100 million jobs like that. And that's a third of, that's a third of the U.S. population. So a 30% unemployment rate would mean greater than 1921 recession, to put that into context. So I think this is kind of like the direction that we're going. I think we're going into a world of very smart and savvy, and it's going to be very futuristic. But I think that most people don't have the education to kind of compete in this level. I personally don't have the education to where I'd be able to manufacture some type of AI robotics machine that could compete with something that Jeff Bezos or anyone else is producing. So for me, I'm looking at what ways I can remove myself from having to compete, having my son to compete in that workforce in 10, 20, 30 years from now. Well, likely 20, 30 years from now. And I'm doing it through very smart and low risk investing. One thing that I think is going to be very interesting here, and I'm going to do a lot more research on this, is I think Bitcoin could be quite fascinating. It's kind of like a Hail Mary. We'll see if I think it might be smart to put, I'm going to do a lot more research on it and I'll comment on it, but for me, I'd feel comfortable putting in a little bit of money in Bitcoin, because what I think is going to happen is I think people are going to trust their government less. They're going to see what the government did to their own currency. They're not going to be tracked and traced as much, really at all, if they can help it. And if they can have their money and have full control over it and be completely off the grid, I think that's going to be something that's going to be very attractive to a lot of people. And I think this is going to make people explore the possibilities of doing something like that. And if a digital dollar does get rolled out in the next year, which is, I think, very likely, they're going to start pushing it. And if that does happen, I think there could be a flow of people that are going to be interested in cryptocurrencies and things of that nature. So I'm going to do a lot of research on this topic. If you're interested in learning about this, drop it in the comments. But I'm going to do a lot of research on this, and once I'm well educated, then I'll possibly do a video on it. But that being said, it'd be crazy time to be alive. This is absolutely incredible. I think crypto is going to be really big. I think the stock market's going to get obliterated soon. Maybe in the next 6 months or a year or less. I think real estate could go through a really big change if there's a universal basic income, which looks like very probable. I think that rents will have to come down to an affordable level of universal basic income, and it will no longer be based on a working class income. I think that the jobs that are really strong right now, that are producing 100,000 a year, 150,000 a year in America, I think that these people are, as I mentioned before, people that are leaving the cities, going to the suburbs, buying really nice houses. Ultimately, I think the money is going to flow from America to India, and it's going to flow from America to China in terms of jobs. Because if you're a business owner and you own a really good company, and you can hire really smart people, and these people don't actually have to come to the office, why are you only hiring in America? You're not. You're going to start outsourcing. And if the cost of living over there is much less than the cost of living here, well, all that means is that you're going to be able to save money, and you're going to be able to expand your company and grow it faster. And I think people are going to be taking advantage of that. So I'd be surprised if any of that doesn't happen. Be very, very surprised, actually. Drop your comments below. What do you think is going to happen in the next, say, 2 years? Do you think this is actually going to roll out? I'm actually surprised that right now everyone's still kind of cool about what's happening. People aren't really making a fuss of it, and it seems like everyone's kind of just going along. So, fascinating times to be alive. Amazing time to be alive. What is your investment plan? What do you think is a smart investment that other people might not be thinking about? Drop it below, and let's get a dialogue on this. And hit the like button as well. And I'll see you in the next video.